Hey guys, Tanner here, one of the master fitters at TrueSpec. I'm here with Blake, another master fitter here at TrueSpec. We're actually out at one of our new locations here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Today we're actually going to take a look at the new ping iron, the i230. We're really excited about this one. Its predecessor was the i210. Really solid iron in the past. A lot of players, a lot of people on tour played it, but they have made a few improvements. Blake, you've had a chance to actually hit this a little bit and kind of look at it. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, so this iron fits nicely in the line. The i59 being a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, a little bit more of a thin top line player's iron. And then the i230 fits right in between where there's the i525. So the i525 is a little bit bigger, a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more offset, hollow body construction. So really what they've done is they've progressively changed the loft so you can hit different launch windows, change your spin rates, all those kind of things, right? That's up to the fitter. The fitter's really gonna fit off of dynamics and all those kind of things, but this rounds out the I line. So I'm excited to hit this. I really like that the i210 performed really well. A lot of tour players liked it, as you said. I think they're gonna like this one too.
Yeah, and what we'd like to do today, we're gonna go through all three heads. So we are gonna hit the i59, then we're gonna hit the i230, and then we'll finish off with the i525. We're gonna take a look at some numbers, kind of see what types of players that it might attract to those types of irons, and talk about the pros and cons maybe with each one, depending on what type of player you are. You ready to swing a little bit today?
I'm ready to roll.
Let's go hit them. All right, Blake, so the first head we're gonna hit is the i59. So what we're gonna do is gonna go through each one of these heads. What's really nice about TrueSpec and also Club Connects is we're able to actually test all three of these heads with the exact same shaft. That way, Blake, when you're swinging, obviously you're going through the process, we're not getting any difference in your swing, the weight, the flex, or anything. We're only testing the head here as going through the process. So let's start with the i59. Let's see what we get first. All right, Blake, let's fire away on the first one.
All right, when I look down at this, I mean, this is a player's iron. I mean, it's a really thin top line. You got that ping signature white line on the bottom there. It's good for alignment. I mean, you're gonna see if you're open or you're closed. Looks really good. I mean, there's not a lot of offset here. It's important to note that this is a 30.5, so 30.5 degrees. So it's the most lofted iron that we're gonna test here. That one pretty good.
Yeah, good strike there. Yeah, definitely the least forgiving iron out of these three models. Not to say it's not forgiving enough, but you're definitely going to be in that higher level player ability if you're going to be playing the i59.
Yeah, we're going to find out about a forgiveness right there. Missed that one a bit.
Let's hit one more.
Yep. And that one was flushed.
Struck well, yeah.
Right at it. All right, yeah, I mean, feel-wise, they do a really good job of the forging, and aesthetics are really, really good. I mean, this has been out for a little while, but you know, starting off the line, this is really good, really good player's iron.
Well, let's take a look at some of the numbers, kind of from this guy. Obviously, we'll compare all three of these when we're done, but kind of what you would expect, especially from a better player like yourself, with your backspin being around 6,000, really good number. Launch angle, right around 15, good number there. Carried 193, total was around 203. How far do you play your 6-iron normal?
About 205.
About 205, so pretty close right on the number, and that's including the miss hit that you had a little bit. So, you know, even being a blade type iron for a better player, obviously if you're you need to be a scratch or close to it or low handicap player to play this iron. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, oh yeah, when you look down at it, if you were looking down at a 5-iron or a 4-iron in this one, it'd scare you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit that i230 and see how that stacks up.
Yep.
Again, same shaft, same golf ball. Let's hit a few shots and then we'll pull the numbers up and kind of compare here.
I have hit this a couple of times and the feel is wonderful. So they've done a really, really good job of that.
Looks really, really clean. So let's hit a couple here.
All right, so when I put it down immediately, it's a little bit longer, a little bit more offset. Nothing that's going to, say that it's shockingly different, and it's definitely a thinner top line than the 210.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. And when I set it down and there's a lot back here, I can't see it. So that's good. That's a really good thing.
So even though it's got that forgiveness in the back, when you put the club down, you're not seeing in the back side of it.
Can't see it.
Okay, that's important, especially for a lot of golfers out there. All right, let's fire away on this guy, the i230.
We're gonna find out about the forgiveness there. Missed that one a bit. Yeah, fanned that one. That wasn't very good at all. Yeah, it got there.
Still though, still got to the green, right?
Yeah.
And that is gonna be a little difference when you're talking the i59 kind of blade type iron versus going to the i230. You can miss a little bit. You still put it out there 195 almost. So it's not a bad miss.
Yeah, a little high fade there. This is interesting. It's not quite as easy to turn over.
Well struck though, right there, right? I mean, you still hit at 200.
Yeah, that was solid.
Yeah.
I usually hit cuts, so that's pretty much my ball flight. Still haven't really flushed one yet. Let's see, give me one more here.
Shot there, Blake.
That was good. So yeah, nice high ball flight.
Yeah, very well struck there. All right, Blake, we just got done hitting the i230, and it's kind of what we would expect, right? I mean, ball speed jumped up a little bit, a little more forgiving head. Launch angle stayed the same, which I really like. You know, sometimes people think that these stronger lofted irons or things like that are going to come out low, but with this guy and the extra weight and the tungsten at the bottom, actually gets the ball up in the air.
Yep, did a good job there.
Fantastic. Backspin was just a touch lower.
Spin came down, yeah.
Which again is what expected when it's a little stronger. The way you swung as far as the direction, carry obviously is a little bit further and total's a little further. The one thing that you noticed as you're hitting, we kind of saw from the data, was what?
It's interesting. The i59, which has the least amount of offset, I pulled. So this is kind of what I know about myself. Sometimes when I don't see offset or more offset, I overreact to it. So I'm either going to like pull one that has no offset,
sure,
or I'm going to push one. So I'm a little bit of an anomaly. Most of the time when there's some offset, it helps you close the face.
Sure.
So I overreact a little bit to that, I
well,
think.
two things with that. One, know your game, know your swing, right? So if that's the way you are and the type of player you are, you have a better idea what iron to kind of fit yourself into, if that's the way you play it. Number two, I think a lot of those kind of mid to better player, they're gonna like this new 230 because it doesn't have a ton of offset where you're gonna hit it really hard left. So those better players that maybe want a little extra forgiveness, I think that extra less offset is going to be really good for those types of players.
Yeah, I mean, look how straight I hit it, and standard deviation is really good, and it's efficient, right? So when you go to the club data, you can see how much more efficient it is.
Yep.
So it has a little bit less loft. It's coming out of a different window, but it's very efficient. I mean, that's something about ping. Ping really makes efficient golf clubs. So when you get a ping in your hands, it's going to be engineered well. The physics are going to be there. So. That's lining up. Everything's lining up the way they really designed it to do.
And the one thing I want to talk about, not just from the 230 standpoint, but you mentioned Ping and how they build golf clubs. You can always order them standard loft, but one thing they offer, Blake, is the power spec and retro spec lofts. And that's important for a few reasons, and tell us why.
Yeah, so as fitters, we're always fitting off of dynamics. So really the way that the person's going to deliver the golf club, if they deliver the golf club with more loft dynamically, then we're going to statically de-loft the golf club. So if they really want that head, then we can power loft it, which means it's going to be de-lofted. But we're fitting on dynamics, so it really doesn't have to do too much to how that golf club is statically put down on the ground. And we're not necessarily trying to manipulate things as far as the way that we're de-lofting. Hey, we're going to make your 6-iron a 5-iron. We're dealing with more of dynamics. So some people need more loft, and they're going to lean the shaft more. Some people need less loft, and the shaft is leaning away from the target. They're adding loft through impact. So that's why that's so important. And Ping's been a fitting company for a long time. So they've got that down. They understand how that works.
So yeah, Blake, you mentioned dynamic loft and why that's important for the loft of the club, how they deliver it. And every player delivers it slightly different. And the one thing as a fitter that we look at is launch angle, spin rate. Obviously, dynamic loft's going to affect that, right? And so depending on kind of how you swing the golf club, how much launch you need, how much spin, if you need to take some spin off, add spin, things like that, we may go ahead and change the loft of the club when building it for you. So it's very important to look at that overall when you're getting fit. All right, Blake, so the last iron we're going to hit is the i525, which is the most forgiving iron out of the three. It is a hollow body construction, a little bit stronger loft. This is an iron that's been out for a little while. We've seen some great performance with it, but I am curious on how it's going to stack up in the lineup here for you.
Being the least lofted one, obviously this should come out lowest.
Sure.
And should go the farthest. It's really good for the person that scoops it. That's what I fit a lot of people with in this iron.
Let's hit a few shots and see how it plays.
Well, I hit that off the heel and it came off hot.
Yeah, I mean, that carried to the green. That carried almost 200 yards on the miss hit, and that's what you would expect, right, on a miss hit like this.
Yeah.
Let's hit a couple more.
Very efficient. Yeah, you know, now I'm reacting a little bit to that offset. Got a little pull there. That went far. That went real far.
Yeah, you want a little extra distance or a little more pop. I mean, the 525 is definitely where it's at.
You can hear the hollow body, but it's not bad. It's still pleasing. Feels good.
All right, we just got done hitting the 525, so we hit all 3 heads. Kind of what we expected numbers-wise, right, Blake? I mean, ball speed jumped up a few miles an hour. Launch angle was a little bit lower. Again, a little bit stronger lofted, so it did come out of a little lower window. And then, of course, your backspin is going to be a little bit lower. With less loft coming off the face that quick, you're going to have a tendency to get a little less spin. But honestly, at 5,400, 5,500, it's not too low.
Yeah.
For a lot of players, that's acceptable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What'd you think overall, you know, hitting it and kind of compared to the other 3, especially the i230?
So you have a progressive feel difference here. So you have a solid blade-like feel here out of the i59. Obviously, it's a smaller sweet spot, but it's not too small. The i230's a little bit more of the hollow body kind of feel. Although it's not hollow, it is filled in, but it gets a little bit more of that feel. But it's not a bad thing. And then you get the hollow body feel here with the i525. So a big thing to note as far as Ping goes, I mean, Ping, I always call it the go straight company. So if you need something to go straight, Ping's going to be the one. And the data shows that everything just pretty much goes straight no matter where you hit it on the face. I do have a tendency to miss it out on the toe, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because that's where they put their tungsten. So, but when we go to the efficiency, it grows a little bit because obviously it's going to have a little bit less loft, a little bit more ball speed as it comes through. My club head speed changed a little bit coming through, but overall it's very efficient irons, every single one of them. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, looking at the club data here, like you mentioned, the efficiency was a little bit higher with the 525, the 230 was next, and then the 525 was the least efficient. But at 134 is actually not bad for the i59, but it kind of stacks up exactly what you would expect to see when testing these irons. So that's really good to see. You mentioned your club head speed, pretty close, between 97 up to 99 on the 525. Everything else stacked up pretty close. Dynamic loft, I know we talked about that earlier. Completely makes sense, right? So a little bit stronger lofted in the 525, so you get a little bit lower dynamic loft. The 230 was in the middle, and then of course you got the i59 at the highest dynamic loft, but that is the most lofted club out of the 3. So, you know, numbers added up and kind of made sense. You swung really well here. Path was pretty consistent. Tack angle was really consistent. So you mentioned slightly on the toe, a little bit strikes, but having that tungsten, especially from Ping on that 230, you know, specifically too, really good iron. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out this year.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to see it in the bay. It'll be fun to fit the right person into that. I think we're going to do well with it.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to talk about the i230 as well is I think a lot of the better players are going to like is the irons 3 through 5. So the longer irons, they actually made it a little more compact, so not as long, a little thinner on the top and more compact. You know, so they call it the tour-inspiring kind of design. So the better players are really going to like that. 6 down to the wedges actually stayed the same from the 210. So, but the longer irons, players are really going to like the way that thing looks. So, really good iron overall. You know, I'm excited to kind of fit for it and see how it plays out there. So.